Hi everybody, it's John here again with another inbox model review. Today I'm going to be doing a bit of diversification. I'm going to bring you a review on something that's an armoured tank. I'm actually going to review Revell's Russian T90A MBT, and these are some nice photographs of a Russian T90, well, a brace of Russian T90s. On exercise somewhere in the Caucasus, I would have thought. So that's the T90 photograph. The story starts with the original release of the Revell 1/72nd scale T90 MBT. This is not the kit that I'm going to be reviewing today. This is the original release that came out in 2013. And this is basically the same kit that I'm reviewing today with an additional sprue and 2 sprues removed from the T90. But I'll explain all that when we get into it. So that's the 2013 release. That's the original kit that the T90A model is based on, the T90 itself. I'm reviewing this particular kit. This is the 2014 retooled re-release of the T90 in the T90A guise. It's still the same model. It basically shares 3 sprues and a lot of the parts off the other 2 sprues, because the T90A came in 5 sprues, but the T90 came in 5 sprues, but the T90A comes in 4. But as I said before, when we look at the parts, I'll explain to you exactly what's going on. If you want a T90, I think you can still get a few T90 kits on eBay, Amazon and places. You can probably get them in the model shops as well if they have any stock. But the T90A is a release kit that Revell have released at the moment. So I don't think the T90A isn't being released at the moment. Sorry, the T90 is being released at the moment, but the T90A is quite easily and readily available. Right, what I want to do now is just bring the camera over, draw your attention to the table down here so you can see what's going on. I just want to try and get the box focused a little bit for you. Is that a bit better? Yeah, that's a bit better, isn't it? There we go. This is the kit I'm actually reviewing today. This is the Revell T90A 1/72nd scale MBT. Lovely box. I like Revell's artwork. I like what they're doing with a lot of artwork actually recently. A lot of Revell's armour kits are you can't get them through anywhere else. They do an awful lot of modern armour and military vehicles, as well as World War II armour and military vehicles as well. But Revell, they're a bit cheeky as well, you know, because Revell have released an awful lot of models under the Revell label, but they're actually Matchbox. the armour kits, that is. We'll just open the box so you can have a look, see what's inside. On the back of the kit, I just wanted to quickly mention, there's a few adverts on the back of the kit which give you an idea of some of the different armour sets that you can buy. They're not all modern, as I said before. These 2 are World War II, these are all modern. And there's an advert here for some paints, accessories, things that Revell do. Just pop that back down there. What I'll do, I normally do the decals first, but I'm going to do the decals second. Let's have a quick look at the instruction leaflet, because the instruction leaflet, bearing in mind the kit is this big, right, the kit's this big, the instruction leaflet is this big. It's massive, and there's lots of pages because there are an awful lot of parts in this kit. It's one of the highest number of parts in a 72nd scale armoured vehicle I've ever seen. Got a bit of technical gumph on the front page there, as normal, about the T90's history and development and whatnot. You've got some hints and tips guides down here. I don't know if you can see them on the video. A few hints and tips there. You've got some method guides for the keys on the instruction leaflets. Things like water slide decals, decal fix, glue, do not glue, blah blah blah, usual stuff. And then you've got on the 3rd page a paint guide, which gives you lots and lots of different paint suggestions to use with the kit. They go from flag A to flag N, so there's lots of different colours used. Not all the colours are used on each kit. There are 4 different versions in this kit, and some of them will use some of the colours and some of them use others. Again, Revell, I like what they're doing here with this. They've got a a parts plan which gives you an idea of what all the parts look like and what sprues they're on. They're clearly marked, individually numbered, so that you can also not have to squint and look at the sprues to see what numbers are which. You can actually work out exactly what parts are what and where they go with this instruction leaflet. It's very, very good. It's clearly printed. There are a lot of steps in this kit, 46 I believe in all, if you include the paint guides and the decal guides. But the actual steps to build the tank itself, there are 42 steps, which you can see there. There's 42 steps. I don't want to go through the entire method using the instructions because a lot of it is pretty basic. You know, the chassis construction, that's all pretty basic to most tanks that you buy. The idler sprockets, drive sprockets and the road wheels, that's all pretty basic. But I do want to talk about this because this is a potential nightmare. The kit itself is marked skill level 5, and I wondered why it was marked skill level 5 until I got to this. Now, most armoured kits, they come with either separate rubberised tracks, which are dead easy to fit. So you just either heat treat them at the end and fix them that way, or you can use certain types of glue like super glue to fix them. A lot of people just use staples. I use staples on my kits when I'm building them if the tracks are going to be hidden. But this model requires you to bend the tracks into shape and then adhere the ends together when they meet. Well, there are 4 parts to the tracks, 2 to each side of the track itself. I don't know if you can see. Can you see? But basically, what you need to do is take this part. There are 4 of these, they're all the same length. You need to take this part, dip it in hot water, not boiling water, but hot water. So I suggest you boil a kettle and just top up the mug with a couple of maybe half an inch of cold water. But you need the water really hot because you need to dip these tracks in hot water so that they're bendy without breaking, and then they become pliable and you can bend them around the drive sprocket and around all the road wheels. And then you do it the same with the other track on this side in section 9, and you bend that round the idler wheel until they meet up at both ends, and then the idea is you're supposed to glue them together. Well, this one shouldn't really be an issue, but it would be a miracle if that actually met where it's supposed to meet without either trimming it down or having to fill a gap. But if it doesn't meet up, it's not the end of the world, because later when you get to section 13, after you've put the body shell on, you have these cover plates that go over the top. They're part of the armour fit on the tank, and they protect all the road wheels and the idler and return wheels from splinters and machine gun fire. And basically these will hide any problems you have with a track fit on the top, because once these are in place, as you can see, they're flush fit to the body shell, and they'll hide everything. They'll hide every issue that you can possibly imagine you might have. Again, the fit goes through until you get to section step 20, which is the turret construction. And this is where the 2 models differ. This is where I wanted to take you to explain the difference between the 2 kits. I said before that the T90 incorporated 2 sprues, one marked sprue D and one marked sprue E. And I'll just take the sprues out of this kit. We're going into the decals in a minute. I'll take the sprues out of this kit so I can show you exactly what I mean. But first of all, this is your first sprue here. This sprue incorporates the chassis base, the chassis back, the chassis sides with all the suspension bars, and the main gun barrel and a few cupola hatches, bits and bobs. Fairly self-explanatory. They're nicely moulded, nicely crafted. They're really nice, well moulded parts on these sprues. There's absolutely no flare. The detail's really crisp and clear. The detail is actually, you wouldn't want to brush paint this kit, you would want to spray it because the detail is so fine that if you brushed it, I think you'd lose an awful lot of what you've got on this model. The body shell there, you can see the body shell? The body shell's really, really nice. Just fine detail lines all over it. Yeah, very nice. That's the back panel, which you can see there. There's the back panel. That's quite nicely moulded as well. Very nice, nice touches. And there's lots and lots of small parts on this kit, which look quite fragile, so you'll have to be very careful removing them from the sprue. Yeah, that's that one. Then we get to sprue C, and this sprue incorporates your armoured wheel covers there. These are the things that are going to hide all your problems and discrepancies with the tracks, if there are any. You've got all your road wheels here. A lot of people ask me, why are they called road wheels? Why? I mean, the track rides the tank rides on a track, so why are they called road wheels? Well, believe it or not, tanks have tyres. A lot of people don't realise, but tanks have tyres. They actually have rubber vulcanised tyres fitted around the outside of the main rollers. If they didn't have rubber tyres fitted to the fitted to the road wheels would wear the tracks out under the weight of the tank. So instead of just replacing the tyres, you would have to replace the wheels and the tracks as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, you have to replace the tracks every so many thousands of miles, but this would happen a lot earlier if you didn't have tyres on the tank, and basically the tracks roll over the rubberised tyre instead of going metal to metal. There's other parts on here which there are too many, and there are so many parts in this kit, it's unbelievable. It's very difficult to itemise and ID everything, but there are your gas and shaft canisters, smoke canisters there. You've got a few, that's the driver's hatch, I believe. You've got some electronic and optics fits parts which are on this part of the sprue up here, and you've got your idler idler wheels here. So that's sprue C. Then we have the fun. This is sprue F. Now, why would you have sprue ABC and then sprue F? Where's sprue D and E? Well, sprue D and E comes in the T90, and sprue F comes in the T90A. And the reason for this is, I'll just turn the camera around again so you can see the computer. The reason for this, I'll just explain. The T90A had a rounded turret at the front here. There's the gun mantlet fit, and you've got a rounded edge to the armour on the front of the turret, and the actual base of the turret is a different shape as well. There's different fits on the T90 for the applique armour and the service pack kits that go around the turret, but the rest of these parts here are all the same as what you get in the T90A, and they're incorporated on this sprue. I can just show you. They're incorporated on this sprue here. So as before, we said before, we've got your tracks here. They're on sprue D. You've got bits and bobs here, which are on sprue E, and that I believe is the front glacis plate. And then you have a few other bits and bobs, panniers and what look like rations fit packages and things like that go on the side of the turret. And then you've got your driver sprockets, which are here, and they're in the other kit as well, exactly the same. But the difference is the two turrets. On the T90A, you can see there's no rounded edge. It's a triangular faceted edge on the front, and that's the gun mantlet. There's no rounded curve going to the bottom of the base of the turret here, and the base of the turret is a completely different shape. This is because the T90A's turret was different to the T90's turret. It had more advanced equipment built into it and onto the side of it, and it had to be a different shape to incorporate the different equipment. And that's faithfully reproduced in between both two kits. After you've fitted the turret, you can see the turret here, it goes together in lots and lots of different parts instead of just the two of the T90. You've got lots of different panniers and boxings that go on the side of the turrets, and these I think are optics of some sort. You've got a machine gun cupola, which is here, and there's an optic for the commander's hatch, I believe, and that's the machine gun cover for the machine gunner's hatch. And then you have the commander's hatch and the machine gunner's hatch there in the two holes in the top of the turret. The gun barrel fits in with the muzzle brake at section 32, and then you fit all the fittings onto the turrets in between section 33 and 36. Once you finish section 36, most tanks would be built and finished by now. The shaft flare and smoke canisters are fitted to they're actually assembled, sub-assembly, and they're fitted to the front and sides of the turret. Then you have the commander's cupola hatch, which fits on, and all the different panniers that go on the side of the turret. There's an aerial stack there and a few other bits and bobs. I think that's another shaft dispenser that goes on the side. And then the machine gunner's hatch goes into there, and you've got two other little bits. And in section 42, long last, you fit the turret to the main chassis. Fantastic. And then you've got your four different variants. You've got two Soviet variants. One's from the 5th Guards Tamanska Independent Motorized Rifle Brigade. They're based at Kyakhta in the Siberian Military District of Russia, and this tank was in service in 2009. And then you also have a T-90A from the 20th Guards Independent Motorized Rifle Brigade. They're based at Volgograd in the North Caucasus Military District in Soviet Union, and they were in service in 2010. But you also have two foreign market purchases. These are the T90 SAs. They're like a degenerated version of the T90A. They were slightly simplified for export, and the two different variants here, one's from the 8th Armoured Division, People's National Army of Sidi Belahabes, Algeria 2013, so that's an Algerian tank. And you have another one from the 4th Baku Army Corps. They're based in Azerbaijan, part of the Absheron Peninsula, and they were in service in 2013 as well. The actual paint schemes for all four different variants is different. They use different schemes. This one is a two-colour scheme, and it's quite... it's basically colour A covers most of the tank, and colour B covers a lot of the side, and a lot of the added coverers for the tank's body shell. This tank's in 3 different colours, and it's a full camo. You can see the full camo patterns there. It also goes over the wheels in the 3 different colours. And these tanks, these are 2 colours, totally different. And these are 3 colours, totally different from the other 3 as well. So you need 4 different types of camo and 4 different types of colours to build this particular, so to build any one of the variants that you've got in this kit. So that's the parts, that's the instructions. Now I want to show you the massive decal sheet you get with this kit. Here it is. Bearing in mind there's 4 variants to this model, you've got a decal sheet that is basically 1 inch by 2 inches, and it covers all 4 variants, the 2 export variants and the 2 Soviet variants. The numbers 440 and 139 that you can, I don't know if you can see them there, can you see them there? Those go on the 2 Soviet variants. I think the 440 goes on to the Siberian Peninsula one. The 139 goes onto the Caucasus one. And the other 2 badge motors, they go on the export tanks. Very, very small decal sheet, not an awful lot of work to put the decals on this tank. But the decals, as most modern Revell kits, they're fantastic quality. They're made by Cartograph, and I can't fault them at all. They're really nicely, the register on them is absolutely superb. Very, very nice. There's even a couple of registration numbers there. I don't know if you can see the registration numbers there. If I can just get it into play. They won't focus properly on the camera, but you can read the numbers on that registration plate. Really, really, really good. I'm really pleased. Again, it's a complicated build, very challenging to a novice, but it will be quite interesting to put this tank together. I've never ever built a model tank that has tracks that you build in that manner. Yeah, it should be very interesting. I can't seem to get these to go back together again. What is that? Oh, that's why. There. Should go together nicely now. There we go. So that's the parts. That's the sprues. I just want to quickly talk about the technical data on the kit, and then we'll close up. The model itself is a Revell T90A main battle tank, and it's built in 1/72 scale. The original kit release was the T90, released in 2013, and in 2014 the T90A was released with new tooling parts to build the T90A's turret. The kit comprises 169 parts in desert yellow colours on 4 sprues, but when you buy the T90 they're on 5 sprues, but I think there are a few less parts, around about 149 I believe. The kit measures 5.5 inches long by 2 inches wide and 1.5 inches high, including the barrel for the length. The T90 retails for about £10 and the T90A is pushing around about 12 to 13. I bought this kit around about a year ago and I paid £11.50 for it from a shop, but I think the shop was going into liquidation, so I got a little bit cheap. Overall feelings, as with most Revell modern tanks, it has very good moulds and it's faithfully reproduced. The detail on the kit is superb. Very fine, but it is very superb. You'd want to spray this kit, you would not want to brush paint. The T90A is really just a T90 tank kit with new sprues to incorporate the squarer fronted turret and all the self-defense part that it entails. I actually think it's a complicated kit to build. I think it would be quite challenging to a novice or somebody who's never built anything before. But for an experienced modeler, I still think it could be a bit of a challenge to put these tracks together, and a lot of small parts involved here. So you'd need tweezers, you'd need a lot of patience, but I think the outcome would be quite rewarding. It looks very, very detailed. It's quite a sizable kit for a 72nd scale tank. But yeah, overall, I like it. Very, very much looking forward to building this. That's it for today, folks. Hope this has been of some use to you, and I'll see you for the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.